This is wrestling's greatest moments.
Hey now, wrestling fans. It's time for another episode of Wrestling's Greatest Moments. Pro wrestling is based on the fundamentals of Greco-Roman wrestling and other amateur arts, but the industry has made plenty of money creating monsters and maniacs to step into the ring. Sit back as Wrestling's Greatest Moments looks at George the Animal Steele. Before we get started though, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. George the Animal Steele is another reminder of pro wrestling's ability to take the most hated of heels and turn them into a beloved babyface. However, as we'll see, the Animal's road to being a babyface was just part of his evolution. Michigan native Jim Meyers was born on April 16, 1937. A gifted athlete in high school, Steele began working as a high school gym teacher and football coach. However, a second career was in the making when he was approached about professional wrestling by Detroit promoter Bert Ruby. Steele said Ruby took one look at his hairy back and he was signed, with Meyers working under a mask as the student. Like many new wrestlers, Meyers was shocked by how much money the pros could make. As Meyers remembers, "I made $4,300 a year teaching when I first started," he recalled in a 2004 interview. "My first summer wrestling, I made $22,000. According to the book WWE Legends, Meyers ditched his mask when he campaigned in the Pittsburgh territory as George Steele. Meyers caught the attention of promoter Vince McMahon Sr. and soon was working in the WWF. Steele battled some of the promotion's top babyfaces, including WWF champion Bruno Sammartino. The Animal became one of Bruno's go-to opponents, someone he could always work a good program with. Steele would do the honors for Bruno on October 4th, 1981 at the New Jersey Meadowlands when the living legend wrestled his last WWF match, at least for the foreseeable future. The Animal's longevity and drawing ability led to many matches against WWF and WWF champions, including Pedro Morales, Bob Backlund, and Hulk Hogan. Steele was known for his hairy back, green tongue, created by chewing green breath mints, devastating hammerlock finisher, and fondness for clobbering opponents with foreign objects. However, it would be his taste for the rich fiber content of wrestling turnbuckles that separated him from his peers. According to George, the gimmick began when a fan threw a small pillow into the ring and he chomped down on it, throwing the stuffing at his opponent. Then, about 2 weeks later, I was wrestling Chief Jay Strongbow and the match just sucked. So I looked at the turnbuckle and I said, I wonder. It was one of those old Everlast turnbuckles, and when I took a bite out of it, it ripped like toilet paper. Out came the stuffing, and the place went nuts. So I started doing it almost every night. According to veteran WWF referee Dick Worley, George's penchant for chewing turnbuckles got him into trouble with an athletic commissioner. The head commissioner happened to be sitting there at ringside, and he's got his $400 suit on, and George is throwing stuffing all over him, Worley said. The commissioner told Worley to stop the match, and the ref consulted with Steele. I finally said, "Look, George," the commissioner said, "don't throw stuff on him like that." "Screw him," he said, and he goes over and rips open another turnbuckle with his teeth, grabs a handful of stuffing, and throws it all over the commissioner. Worley was forced to disqualify the Animal. George punched Worley just to let everyone know what he thought about authority figures, real and kayfabe. A dedicated teacher and coach, Meyers continued working in the school system, which meant he usually only wrestled during the summer and holiday recesses. Some pundits believe this helped keep his act fresh. As longtime fans know, the Animal wasn't always the gibberish-spouting madman whose promos made the Ultimate Warrior sound like Art Linkletter by comparison. Early on, Steele cut surprisingly normal-sounding promos. That changed over time, but not as much as what happened in 1985 when the previously despised Animal turned babyface during an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event after his tag team partners, the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, abandoned him. Steele's shocking switch to playing a babyface was a classic case of a wrestler learning to get with the times. According to Steele, Vince McMahon Sr. had suggested it might be time for the animal to retire. However, that changed when Vince's son, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, bought the WWF. In the book, The Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, The Storytellers, Steele recalls the incident that made him realize the WWF had changed. Butcher Vachon's wedding was the first total cartoon. I called Vince aside and asked him if he was going to use that tape on the USA show. I told him if he did, that he might kill wrestling. The wedding showed 3 weeks in a row. That is when wrestling went to the top of the charts. I knew right then that wrestling had changed, so I changed. Nothing changed of Steele's character other than the opponents he worked against. Even under the guidance of a recently reformed Captain Lou Albano, Steele was still a maniac in the ring, continuing to feast on turnbuckles and manhandle opponents with all the skill of a Cro-Magnon. The fans loved every moment, especially when the WWF ran a Beauty and the Beast storyline between George and Randy Macho Man Savage's manager, the lovely Elizabeth. While the Savage vs. Steele program proved remarkably successful, it got off on the wrong foot when the Macho Man presented Steele with 4 to 5 pages of notes and what he wanted from their match. Steele, as old school as it gets, recalls, "To be honest, I took offense to what Randy was proposing," he said, "so I pretended to read the first page, slowly crumpled the paper, tossed it in the trash can. I did the same thing with the rest of the pages, very slowly and very deliberately. All the while Randy was going ballistic. I just told him to calm down, listen to me in the ring, and we'd have a great match." Nevertheless, things worked out well, and the Savage Steele feud was incorporated into Randy's legendary war against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Fans will never forget Steele's spot at WrestleMania 3, where he stopped Savage from using the timekeeper's bell on Steamboat, leading to the Dragon beating Savage for the Intercontinental Championship. George hung up the tights in 1988 after being diagnosed with Crohn's disease, working in the WWF as a road agent. Although his popularity led to him reprising his animal character as a member of the Oddities during the Attitude Era, a 2000 match against Jeff Jarrett on Nitro, and various matches on the indie circuit. George also showed up at TNA's 2008 Slammiversary pay-per-view, where he served as a groomsman for Black Machismo Jay Lethal, and dropped by for a 2010 appearance on Monday Night Raw. Steele's unique look led to him appearing in film and television. His best-known role is in Ed Wood, Tim Burton's biopic of the cult classic film director. There, George played wrestler Tor Johnson, aka the Super Swedish Angel, who appeared in a number of Wood's films. While best known to wrestling fans as The Animal, the WWF Hall of Famer distinguished himself as a coach, his accomplishments leading to induction into the Michigan High School Coaches Hall of Fame and the Michigan High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame. George passed away on February 16, 2017. He was 79. Do you remember George the Animal Steele? If so, what were your favorite moments from his career? Share your thoughts in the comment section and let us know if there are any videos you'd like Wrestling's Greatest Moments to cover. In the meantime, subscribe to our channel, follow us on X and Instagram, and spread the good news about Wrestling's Greatest Moments, the channel that celebrates the squared circle.